always glad to have you with us as well. Talked earlier about the fact that October is Fire Prevention Month. We're going to talk about that with the fire chief in just a few moments. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Katil.
Glad to have you here.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful morning.
It really is a beautiful morning. You received some big news from the federal government just recently. Tell us about that.
We did. In June of 2008, we applied for a SAFER grant, which is a staffing grant to help us to meet adequate staffing for fire departments across the United States. This grant's been offered since mid-2000s, 2005, and this is our third time applying for this grant. We received news that we were going to be awarded the grant, and we're very excited about this. If we accept this grant, this will allow us to staff 18 more firefighters. That will move us into the position of staffing all of our frontline equipment, our engines, and putting a second ladder company in service for the citizens here in Gainesville.
Now, as we talk this morning, we're still waiting on the decision by the City Council to determine whether or not you would actually get this money. But now you say this is the third time you applied. Is this the first time you've received it?
It is the first time we've received it. This is a very difficult grant to receive. It's very competitive. This grant is all across the United States. Fire department competing for this grant. Staffing needs are great in every fire department across the United States. So you have to, it's a long process to fill out all the forms that has to have all the statistics of your community and what you respond to and how many calls you respond to. So there's a lot to take into account when you're applying for this grant. So to receive a grant like this is very exciting. We're very honored and humbled to receive a grant like this, but we have to make sure the City Council will accept this grant, that we as a community can accept this grant. And what this means for the citizens of Gainesville is that we can put more firefighters on an emergency scene, which will make it safer for both the citizens of Gainesville and the firefighters here working.
Okay, so basically you keep the same stations that you have now and add to each station?
That is correct. That is correct.
Speaking of fire stations, we should probably quickly mention here this morning your brand new fire station #1 that's still under construction.
Yes, we're very excited.
How's that going?
Oh, it's going great. They have got the steel erected now on it, and they poured our first floor slab last week, so they're moving right along.
So
we're
now
very
you have
excited.
An office?
Well, I've got a floor in that office.
You've got a floor. You've got a floor. Well, certainly we've been following that project for several months. We'll continue to until next year. I also want to talk about the fact that October is Fire Prevention Month, and you all will be celebrating Fire Prevention Week very soon.
We will. October the 4th through October the 10th is Fire Prevention Week. This is a week that we observe and concentrate on teaching people about fire prevention, how to prevent fires, what to do in case of a fire. And along with that, there's some history behind that. I want to just give you just a little bit of history behind that. In 1871, October the 9th, 1871, there was a very large fire. It's called the Great Chicago Fire. This fire left 250 people dead and over 100,000 people homeless, destroyed over 2,000 acres. On the 40th anniversary of that fire, the International Fire Marshals Association decided they wanted to do something that would help people to understand what fire prevention was, instead of just that anniversary. So they came up with the idea that a Fire Prevention Week should be observed. President Woodrow Wilson in 1920 signed a proclamation that we would observe a Fire Prevention Week, and since 1922 that has been observed every week during October of the week of the 9th. So that's just a little bit of history how we got to where we are now.
When I think about Fire Prevention Month, October, I always think about the little kids and stop, drop, and roll.
Right.
Is that still the way to go?
That is still the way to go. We still teach that. But we also concentrate on not just the little kids. We concentrate on all ages of kids in schools. And then the parents. We need to reach the parents too. But a lot of times the way to reach the parents is through those kids. Because those kids are going to remember that. They're going to tell their parents. And we go to the schools during this week, we go to businesses and help them understand what fire prevention is. For everything from checking their fire alarms to their smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, things like that a lot of times we just kind of take for granted and forget about. This is a week we really do that push and we really do the blitzes and we really concentrate in that area.
Well, and certainly cooler weather is just around the corner. It's perfect right now, but it's just around the corner. We hear about space heaters still, regardless of how much education we do. One thing I always, when I go up into what I call my computer room, there's all the wires and the computer. Yeah. Pretty much everybody has a computer now, so for those of us who aren't savvy enough to have the wireless, it seems like that's another area that we probably all need to check.
Yeah, you know, when a lot of people get computers and different gadgets in their homes and they don't have enough plug-ins, they start using extension cords and strip power units and things like that. They tend to overload them. So those are things you have to follow manufacturer's recommendations on those. Make sure everything is UL certified, that's been tested, and that it will hold what you're trying to load onto that.
So if someone wants you or the fire marshal to come and speak to their class or their students or their older people, how can they get in touch with you?
770-534-3612. They can contact myself, Jerome Yarborough, who's the Deputy Chief and the Fire Marshal, or any of our Secretary of Staff will be glad to set up an appointment with them. We'll be glad to come out and talk with them or their group concerning fire prevention. One of the things also we concentrate on during this week, and this is just a good memory jogger here, when you change your clock back, you need to change your batteries in your smoke detectors.
That's right.
That's an easy way to remember that. I know a lot of times people say, oh, my smoke detector's chirping, it's making a chirping noise. Well, that's telling you that battery needs to be replaced. If you take that battery out, replace it immediately. Don't leave it hanging, I'll get one tomorrow, because that tomorrow may never come. And these are things that can save your life, they will save your life. So be sure to check your smoke detectors, change the batteries in them. This is the time of year to do that. You know, talk to your kids about escape routes out of your home, where to meet in case of an emergency. Those are the things we will, as a department, be concentrating on. We'll be glad to come out, teach you that, help you in any way we can, install a smoke detector, install your battery for you, teach you how those things work. So just give us a call.
You heard that. You heard the chief say he would come to your house and install your smoke detector, and I know he would. So we thank you very much for that. Thank you. Good luck with that grant, okay?
Thank you.
I'll see if I can put a word in with the City Council.
All right. Thank you.
That is, of course, Fire Chief Jon Canada joining us this morning here on Good Morning Gainesville.